We are back today with another episode of The Real Value. I know it has been a very long time since the first episode, but now that I am back, we are going to go strong with the series because there are so many other ones I want to talk about. And the next album we will be finding the real value of today is Pale Shades of Grey, Heavy Psychedelic Ballads, and Dirges. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. It's D-I-R-G-E-S. 1969 to 1976. Released in 2024 by Now Again Records for Record Store Day. If you've heard of Now Again Records, they're another one of these labels that focuses on bringing rare or obscure music back to the light, kind of like the Brown Acid series is doing, and also Numero Group and what I hope to do with my label, as well as a couple other places out there doing the same kind of stuff. I did have a chance to pick up this album back at Record Store Day when it released, and I love it. You can still find this record for between 20 to 30 on average on Discogs and online, and I think that's a very fair price for this album. I think I paid about $24-25 on release. If you don't know what this series does, don't worry, I don't blame you. It's been almost a year since the last episode because I forgot. We break down the album into individual tracks and find out what the price would be if you bought these items separately. For this series, I use Discogs, and I use the first press or the earliest known release of the music to determine the price, and I use the median average because there's a low, median, and like higher end value depending on what it is, so I just go with split down the middle. That's what it would be about, and I'm going to change the rules kind of from the last one talking about the Warfaring Strangers albums. I kind of took, like, if it hadn't been released as a single, I took the first press of the album that it's on, and then divided it, and then did that way. But then I thought to myself, you have to buy the whole album to get the song, so if it does not have a single price, it will be the price of the album, and I will discuss which ones you'll have to do and all that stuff. Because I realized in my head, I'm like, you're going to have to buy the whole album to have this song added to the pile, so why divide the number, you know? This album has a total of 12 individual tracks, and starting it off is Heaven with Down by the Ocean, which is off of their self-titled album from 1970 on the W/W label. Now, it's only been released once, and there has not been a single release from this, so gotta buy the entire album. Last time it sold in 2017. That's how long. It's been almost 10 years since it sold, and it sold for $35. Now, the price today could be different, but that's the price. So it would cost you around $35 to have Down by the Ocean. Next is the band Image with Outstation, and what's weird about this is Image doesn't even seem to have an official release on their own of this song, or even the other song off of that, like the single, whatever you want to call it. It's 2 songs. The only other place it appears to be, other than Pale Shades of Grey, is a compilation called A New High, Dallas 1971, Part 1, on the basically one-off label, Tempo 2. This one features both of Image's songs as well as 4 other bands' songs, and if you want this one, it is going to cost you an easy $460 average, with the last one selling February 2025 for $480, which is up next with Evening of My Life. This Zambian rock band dropped a song on their 1976 album, Lacombo Vibes, on the Zambezi label, and it wasn't repressed until 2013. Now, a first press of this album will run you about $175 on average, but it seems to be going up depending on the condition of it, with the most recent one selling for $361. Now we have the band Ofege, it's O-F-E-G-E, so hopefully I said one of them right, with Sorrow. This band from, Lagos, Nigeria, released the song on the last of the Origins album in 1976. This one seems to have actually gone down in value, so you'll be able to get this one for around $34, and there are some listed for even less than that. Next is the multinational Latin group Kaleidoscope with Let Me Try, and it's kind of a weird one. Released on their 1969 album that is self-titled, there was only 200 pressed copies of the original, mainly given to radio stations, and what I could find is they wanted to test how psychedelic rock would do down in Mexico, where the first press is from, but there has been no sales of this particular album, and there's no real way to determine the value. There's been a good handful of represses, but we don't use those. If anything, I'd honestly think a value for a first press might be around the $400 to $500 range, but it's just an idea. That's not the price we're going to go with. This one's just going to be like a not applicable one. Now we got Pat's People with December Sequel. They are an Irish folk group from Michigan. This song released on their 1976 album, Silver Rains Afar. Ugh, sorry for the yawn. And there seeming to be only one press of this album. It'll run you about $50 to get a copy, but maybe less. The next group is a Zimbabwean psych band called IQ, and it's another one of the anomalies on the list, as they've never released an album, but they released a good handful of singles. On Discogs, all but one of their singles has an actual release date on it, but based on basic digging into the record label that it was on, I can safely say they dropped these singles within the 70s, but possibly into the early 80s. I looked at the similar record label, the actual label of it, and kind of gave it around that era. Unfortunately, this one also does not have a price. And what was cool is the Now Again label actually pulled all these songs and released them as a big compilation on the label. Now we have Trevor McNamara's song Digging, and while only a minute long, it's interesting to have on there, I will say that. Seems to be very little info on him as an artist, but Digging was released on his only album, Yeah Captain, in 1971. This one was only released in Australia until 2001 in Germany when they released it. Now to find a first press from Australia, it'll run you about an average of $400. It did last sell for $900, so be aware of that. So yeah, we're going up and up and up with these prices. Next one, I'll tell you straight up, I cannot find anything about any of them, really. And it's Know Yourself by Ed Whitening and Joe Lano. And when I mean I can't find anything, I mean there's no trace of this song outside of the Pale Shades of Grey album. They were both in bands, that's what I could find off of Discogs, but I cannot find this song in any one of their discography. It's such a weird one. I don't think I've had one like this in a hot minute. The next one, which is the title of this compilation, Pale Shades of Grey, by Ant Trip Ceremony, seems to be the most sought after album out of anything on this list, and probably anything I've seen since the self-titled Mirkwood first pressing. And this was a college band from Ohio, and 300 original copies of their album were sold in the bookstore at said college. If I'm correct, it was late 60s, but none is sold before this original copy, so there's no price to give. But this seems to be so wanted that one is for sale for $3,000, and another one signed is on sale for $3,800. Keep in mind, these both list that they are not mint. These are both at a VG average level. So with the higher price one being signed supposedly by the band for a nearly impossible find, I would definitely check out finding a repress of this album. Be probably far easier to grab, or if you had the cash for it, I'd probably bite the bullet and do it. If I had the money, honestly, I would probably go for the $3,000 one. But that's just because I impulse buy a lot of stuff and I love music. Next group is from the Netherlands called Group 1850, which changed their name, renamed it kind of to still Group or Grope 1850. It's GROEP now. With the song I Know, parentheses, La Pense, it was released as a B-side to the single in 1967. This seems to have not made it on an album until it was added as a bonus to the group's debut album, so it's pretty much a single-only song. The single, if you want it, will cost you around $232 average, with one listed for $163 without the picture sleeve. The last one is by an artist called Christoph, and I think it's Yo Prego e Prejero, and then in parentheses, just say que c'est l'été. You can tell I speak anything but English. No, I just wanted to at least say it so that way you kind of knew. But I'll put it up on screen as well during this one just so you know. This one is interesting. It's an Italian psych song that only released as a single in 1967. I had to do like a double check. I was like, are you sure there is no, like, anything anywhere? Nope, none of the albums around that time had the same thing. This is the cheapest one that we will probably ever see, being an average of $5. $5 for this. But there is a catch if you're in the States like me. As with a lot of international records, you gotta pay international shipping, with around a $20 to $25 price range. That's just what I've seen. Like I ordered a record, 2 or 3 cassettes and shirts from Australia for $22. So, kind of going off that. So while the record is easily available and a lot are going between $1 to $4, the shipping price is what's probably going to get you, but I'd recommend it for this one because it's such a solid song. So after adding up all the prices we have found today to buy everything on the Pale Shades of Grey album, you will need a minimum of $1,391. Now, like I explained, there are also some that have no value known, so this number can jump exponentially, especially with Antrip Ceremony's album seeming to have a price tag of $3,000. But for now, you'll need a minimum of, let's add tax in there, a minimum of about $1,400 to make this $20 to $30 compilation on your own. So thank you everyone for tuning in and watching this episode of The Real Value. What other weird, obscure compilations would you like me to tackle as well? I have a couple in mind. I do want to tackle the Brown Acid series. There is another Warfaring Strangers album. I think it's called Acid Nightmares. There's a good handful of them. So there's always a good amount, but are there any that I don't know of? I would like to know. Let me know down in the comments. And if you like this album, let me know as well. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.